to Tuesday's Q&A. Here we are on the, was it 27th?
Yeah.
27th of October, getting near Halloween, so we had a bit of fun about an hour ago.
We did.
So we've done a little bit of a special for you with our Halloween thing, which I'll edit and put together. Probably get that up on Thursday. Yeah, I'll do it up for Thursday.
Bit of fun.
A good one, bit of fun. So it's a bit of a spooky, destroy my model
Disaster
type thing. And because it was a special, we actually had 4 models we destroyed in very quick succession.
We did.
Well, all at the same time, really. And then a bit of a spooky with your artistic, brilliant work, which I don't think will come out on camera. It does look like an orange ball to me.
That's all right. It's probably better off.
But everything else like that. So look forward to that. I'll put that up on Thursday for you, our little Halloween special of Destroy My Model. So yes, a bit of fun with that, and about 2 hours to clear it all up. But there we go. So lots and lots of fun. For me, finished off the actual Starfighter. Hold on, turn him on. Camberwick Green. You know, it's the AK stuff. I know I keep saying about it, but I really, really do like it. And I don't know if you can see it, but it looks terrible on camera. But actually looking at it in the light, you see all the different metal shades and that.
I can see certain shade in it, yeah.
Well, I forgot with your eyesight. Does it all look like silver?
most of it does. Obviously, I can see the different colour shades, but
yeah.
No, the
But you still got. Hopefully,
bits.
you can still see a little bit of blues in there, a little bit of the sort of aluminium colours and all things like that. And that's what I do love about these, because if I was doing that with Alclad and that, you'd have to use the clears to get the same type of effect, and it's a bit of a long-winded process to get there, like the clear blues and the hot colours. With this stuff, literally, it's so simple to put it down. You know, it is that thing of like really hard to get it wrong. It's really hard to make a mess of it.
I'd say that it just doesn't look like it would fly.
No.
With those little tiny wings.
It doesn't need to, it's got a big engine. It is the man with the missile, isn't it?
It's more
missile
like
with a man on it.
It's more like a rocket
yeah,
than anything else.
That was its nickname, wasn't it? It was a missile with a man in it. And everything else. Also known as the Widowmaker or the flying coffin, because everyone died flying it. The mortality rate out of that aircraft was terrible because it had little wings.
I'm not surprised.
It's not designed to fly. I remember being at first, the only time I've ever seen one of those fly is at Riyadh.
Right.
Many moons ago. And when they come in for landing, they come in so shallow and so quick. They must have one of the fastest approach speeds of any aircraft. You think it's never going to stop. Because it literally, I have no lift. It's like a little bird when you see it first leave the nest. They are literally like that. But no, thoroughly enjoyed it. Fantastic build. The next part may be up on Thursday. I might get the first part of the Helix up on there. So I'm going to work on the Helix tomorrow, and if I get it a bit done, I can get it edited and put up on the site and everything else. If not, it will be maybe the last part of this. I might split it into 2 yet. It just depends on how far over the 45 minutes we go. So it might be an extra long last part, or we'll break it into 2.
So definitely understand what you're saying about the decals. That you can't see the clear part.
Yeah, it's no carrier film evident anywhere, which is something I really like about this, because I always struggled that with Alclad, because if you do it with Alclad on neat, you tend to see it. And I know with this, alright, they are cartographed, so it's the best decals on your best surface, so in theory you shouldn't, but there's a lot of carrier film on the US Air Force because it's all in one decal that, and obviously none showed up whatsoever. So very, very happy with it.
So
yes, I must admit it was one of those builds where I say it in the actual thing for it, putting it together, piece of cake, because it's really nice kit. It's a very straightforward kit, but actually going through the process of learning how to use the metallizers and stuff like that, it wasn't so much a problem because I couldn't get the metallizers to go wrong. If that makes sense. When you're spraying them, you try and do it slowly and you do it like this, and you're playing with air pressures, actually high air pressure. I never changed my air pressure at all as we went along on this one, so really it wasn't too much of a problem.
That looks really nice.
So as I said, shiny. First time I've done a metal one in ages. In fact, the last one I did was the Lightning, wherever that is. It's now in the new case behind you. That was the last time we did one, and that was done in Alclad, if I do remember rightly. So yes, very nice indeed.
It is.
Something a little bit different.
Definitely.
And I can report, obviously, the AK, extreme metals, really nice. All those problems we had when we did the product review, totally unfounded. Well, it wasn't. The product review ones were rubbish.
Yeah.
These ones actually work. And masking it up, I was very, off the oils, off your skin, laying it down gently. By the end of it, I'm like, take it off, neat, push it down, get it off, and it, fine, no problem at all. So no problem with that, and you didn't get any residue, and it didn't peel it off. If you peel away from a metal finish with Alclad, you look at the tape, you can see silver.
Right.
It takes the top layer with it. With this, nothing whatsoever. Really, really happy with it. I'm not sure what the medium is. You know, as in, is it an enamel? Is it a lacquer?
Right.
Because it doesn't smell like a lacquer. It smells, if I'm honest, like an enamel. But when I did the wash, which I used the AK weathering products for doing the wash on it, obviously I just wiped it off with enamel thinners, and it didn't eat through. So it's not enamel, and it's not. I've also been around it. I gave it a bit of a wipe on the decals with a little bit of X20A.
Yep.
Just to seat them in a little bit and get them to go down a bit more, because they go down flawlessly, but because it isn't overcoated, I was worried about them coming off. So I did just do around the front end, and again, it doesn't affect it, because to be honest, you get the spare doors. So I was testing it all in that first, right, what comes off with it, and it seems to be impervious apart from its own thinner. So this stuff will strip it instantly.
Right.
But certainly, just using it normally with everything else that I use, nothing will touch it. So it does make it quite safe for overcoating.
Yeah.
So like when you're in with the wheel wells with an enamel wash or something else like that, you don't have to worry about it suddenly melting and fuzzing up and all things like that. So it worked really well.
Splendid.
Very impressed with it. So
a proper trial then.
Oh yeah, that had probably the most in-depth on test there is. As I said, I've got to edit it all, which is something I'm going to do this week. Obviously, I will get that done, and there will be a free-to-watch thing about using all of this stuff, because as I say, AK did supply us with everything.
Yeah.
So I'll a little bit give back to them. Obviously, it'll be open to the public. So if you're a non-member, you will be able to see using the actual metallizer, the AK Extremes, and masking them and all the bits and pieces in mini versions of the build. So yes. Very nice.
Splendid.
Indeed. Very good. And you have been miniaturising.
I have. I've been playing with my little figures.
You've been hanging around Games Workshop again, haven't you? I've told you about standing there. If you stand there too long, they will come to you.
Will they?
It's like The Walking Dead. Once they get a scent, they're like, you will be Glenn. God, unless you haven't seen it yet.
I must.
No spoilers.
I must admit, I went in there just to have a nose.
And that was it. He came up and he said, "Can I help you, sir?"
I went
and you
in,
said, "I don't know what I'm talking," and that's it. That's
lucky enough. No, I went in there and he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "I'm just browsing," and he left me alone.
Did he?
Which I was quite thankful for, because I can't stand it when people try and say, "Oh, well, what are you looking for?"
I bet he was taken out of the back and given a good kick in.
Probably. What'd you do?
I told you about doing that.
But there was people obviously in the centre tables playing whatever games. There was some of them making their own little characters out of modelling clay and all sorts. And I'm thinking, I'm quite happy with just building the plastic kits. Thank you.
Very good.
But no, I've gone with Blood Angels.
Yes.
Because they're sort of a mix between obviously men figures, so to speak.
Humanoid.
And,
that's the word you're after.
Something along those lines. And robot-y type stuff.
Yep.
I've completed 2 so far, paint-wise.
They're very reminiscent of Fallout, isn't it? Computer game Fallout? I think they're up to 4 now, aren't they? They very much look, because of the mask, I'm looking at the book, and it looks like something from Fallout.
Or Halo.
Halo, yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
But, it's been good fun. It's the sort of thing, because obviously now I'm limited with time, it's the sort of thing that you can spend half an hour just doing a bit of hand painting on it, with the detail, wash your brush and then leave them. As well, obviously, when you get into like bigger models and you're using your airbrush and everything, obviously you've got to allow for time for setting it all up, doing the paint and then cleaning your airbrush afterwards. So it's been quite good fun. So I've ordered, I think, three sets so far. The longest part is obviously working out what to put on what, so to speak, picking up the figures of what weapons and stuff to put on them.
So you've been studying your Warhammer book at night, have you? To find out what it's going to have?
No, more at work.
Not now. Busy.
When I've done my night shifts, it's
I've broken my leg. It's alright.
I think to do that night on my night shifts. So I've sat at the desk while looking after a certain hotel, so to speak.
Yes.
And reading my book.
Very good.
I must admit, the last time I worked there, I took my models with me and took them all off the sprue.
Bit of work.
And cleaned them up.
Being paid to do it.
Indeed. But it's I airbrushed the primer on, and then obviously the black, and then all the details. Obviously, I've been hand painting. I did try a couple of the red crosses on the top of the jump packs with spraying them, but by the time I masked it all up and that, I thought, no, it's just quicker.
Because the actual priming, but after that, I would hand paint.
I thought, to be honest, by the time they've been in a battle or two, they're going to be a bit weathered and battered anyway. So,
and I must admit, like we were saying earlier, the old Citadel hand painting is beautiful for it. They work so well.
Yeah, once you put, like I say, put a drop of water in with it and mix it. As long as you keep the brush to a nice point and keep it nice and tidy, you can pick out some nice detail on them.
Very good.
But as I've been using my silver pen for doing some like chipping and stuff.
Which is something I'm going to have to play with. We were talking about this before we came on air. It's a nice touch because it's a gel pen in silver, and you've done scratch work on it to the absolute tiniest bits, and it looks spot on. So I'm just thinking you could attack your 1/24th with it and do your smaller chipping with it, and then obviously the smaller scales you're working with works really, really well. Does it smear? Does it smudge?
It can do if you put your finger over it.
Yeah. Does it dry out though, or is it like just jellified for ages?
No, it does dry.
So I was thinking you'd be all right then. Once it's dried, you'll be
once it's dry, it's fine. You can overcoat it with obviously clear, and then once it's sealed, you can put washes and everything over it then.
Very good.
But no, I've been enjoying it.
Very nice. No, I'm impressed. Very good.
Something different.
Well, that's it.
But I've come to the conclusion now that, as I said to you earlier, that I'll probably ditch doing like the bigger planes and the bigger models. Stick with doing armour and helicopters, and then obviously.
So you heard it here first. He's turned to the dark side. That's it now. Not only is he enjoying Warhammer and that, but he's moved away from aircraft into moving.
Well, not moved away from aircraft because I'm still doing the helis, but.
Well, yeah, it's rotary wing now.
Yes,
absolutely.
But no, it's just one of those things. Obviously, I just find that because again, as I say, with me time limits, it's easier just to be able to spend a quick half hour or an hour on something, and then leave it on the desk, so to speak, and then come back to it at a later date. So it's been good fun. It's been nice to actually get back and then just enjoy building something again. As I say, with these, you don't have to worry about seam lines that much.
No.
They go together really well. As I say, with these backpack things, the jetpacks, you get little tiny metal magnets in them, so you can change the different bits, and you can do them on the arms as well. You can put magnets in the arms on the body, so you can change different arms. So yeah, it's all been quite a learning curve. I've been drilling out the hose on the weapons. That's supposed to be like a flamethrower. So I've got my little drill out and drilled through all the hose to make it a bit more realistic rather than leaving them filled. So that was quite time consuming.
Very good.
But all quite therapeutic.
I can imagine. At least it's something you can pick up, put down.
Yeah.
You know, I had a member message me this week saying he's completely lost the mojo.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's it. He just cannot bear the thought of going in the modelling room and doing anything. Because he's binned his last one. I won't mention his name because he hasn't said I could. But he's binned his last model, and literally he is to the point where he's threatening to check it all up on eBay and sell the lot because there's got to be something easier.
Oh dear.
So I just simply said, because I know obviously the work he's been doing, it's pretty heavy work. It's not easy stuff. It's aircraft, based on everything else. So I did say something like a straightforward kit, you know, to the point. I must admit, I did say about the Bandai stuff. I said, have you sci-fi type things, think of Bandai because they are just a pleasure to build. There's no real brain power required to them, and the assembly is just straightforward, and you've got something within 2 hours to show. And things like that. And obviously going back to basics of doing something that doesn't take weeks. You're thinking like obviously with you can paint them a couple of days, you'd have them done, and then you can build on from that, and then I take it you'll start doing the bigger stuff and the mechanoid things and all the bits and pieces like that, and then that's it, and you can sort of build on it as you make your way through. So certainly from that point of view, I think it is that thing, you get caught in a rut, and I'm just the same because coming off the back of doing the big ones, that's why I ended up doing like the car and, to be honest, the bike and stuff like that, because otherwise you just get so dragged on, and it's like 3 months work on those, and to do something like this, which really we rattled through in 2 weeks, is done, and I'm hoping with the Helix it's not going to take too long, and certainly the Terminator should be straightforward as well, but they're nice quick builds, and we can make our way through and everything else, and then when you're in a better frame of mind, then you can throw yourself into something that's going to be
something more detailed,
going to take your time. It's not going to be an easy fix and things like that, but definitely I think it's definitely well worth having something in your stash which is just a little bit more straightforward.
Definitely.
So yes.
But obviously now doing this, I've now got a great understanding for people that go out and buy decent brushes.
Oh God! Don't you start on your bloody Series 7s.
I'm not.
There's nothing wrong with my Series 7. He's fine. Okay, he's had like the odd accident. He's all right.
I'm not going.
Apparently, if you get some brush renovator, it will look like new.
I'm not going to an extreme of buying Winsor Newton, all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But getting a nice brush with a point on and trying to keep it to a point, that's quite a challenge. Because I've told you before, normally it's quick wash, dry, on the table, that's it.
But they do say, isn't it, a brush renovator is the way to have it. You have a jar of this stuff. Apparently it conditions the bristles and it stops them going like a chimney sweep's brush. And everything. Yeah, that's it. They're just like 90 degrees and it stops all of that type of thing, when they're in different directions. Looks like a fibre optic palm tree.
What do I need to mix my pen? Oh, that do.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's been cleaned out at the bottom of my airbrush. Get in there. So, I think those ones, also you get is it like a wax or little thing, isn't it? You rub them on as well and it conditions. Apparently it's like a conditioner, so it softens your bristles. Not that obviously, clearly I don't use it, as you can see, but we just buy a new one.
Well, let's speak to John.
Yeah,
John's the expert. Mr.
John must
Bullock.
have more than that one, because they come in a set. No, that one's Steve's actually. That's Steve's. Was Steve's.
Well, yeah, it's a really good brush, really good condition, Steve.
Yes.
It's the best that I've seen.
Yes. Honestly, don't look at my paintbrush pot isn't exactly, brilliant. Some of them are like rock hard. Like that one's a good one. Look, I'm sure it should have been a chiselled edge. Looks like a loo brush. Quite frankly, now I finish with it.
That's my latest one that I bought.
Oh, that's posh.
It's not. It's only I'd say from Antics, but obviously there are other stores available.
Is that a 000?
It's a 333, I think.
Is that a 333?
Yeah.
Very posh.
But it still looks quite big.
Oh, it does when you're doing little things on there, yeah.
So I'm sure there's going to be smaller ones.
Oh, there is, yeah. You go down to ones like this. Hold on, let me show you one of my personal favourites from my collection.
The one strain that you've got left.
That one.
Could hardly see it.
Well, what happens is, there's a story to this. When they get to that point
lovely point on it, though.
Well, 3 hairs. But when they do get to that point, where's the other one? There's my other particular favourite. Actually, that one's not too bad, actually. But when they get the odd hair that sticks out, I tend to then get them on, stick a knife and just cut them out of the way. So now that's why originally it probably was like, a number 4. But by the time I've given it a haircut every once in a while, it's down to like a 00000 or whatever.
Both 10 zeros.
Yeah, but they're different in size when you look at it.
That's because you've been hacking them both out.
Yeah, originally it was like that. So yes, I don't do much hand painting. To be honest, what I did was, these actually are all Creative Models ones. These are Sable ones.
Right.
Creative Models got them in a while ago, and I went and bought a couple of sets.
Yeah.
For small little brushes, and I clearly need some more.
No, I think these ones were made in Germany.
Are they? I think mine were made in China. It's a rough bit, clearly.
Yeah, Premier P41 Finest Nylon.
Premier.
But look, that one I haven't washed. It's gone a bit solid now.
That one is a 10-0.
The two that you can,
Yes.
Didn't realise I got that though.
No, nor did I.
Hey
So
ho.
I've just finished with them anyway. So there we go. That's our brush selection.
It's about 20 naught now.
Oh, is it? Yeah, that's it.
Now you've got
4 hairs, and one of them's broke. Right. Well, there we go. Tuesday's questions as ever. So you're going to spend the next hour, hopefully, trying to answer as many as we can. Don't forget, guys. Some of you are asking your questions again. If I've deleted you off the thread in the forum, that means I've answered it. I thought it was straightforward. Nobody else did, probably because I forgot to tell everyone that is what I was doing. But technically, if you see I've liked your post, that means I've read it, and then I leave them up there for a while, and then I come back and delete it. But I have noticed a couple of ones I've answered have made a reappearance, so I'm guessing the author has thought, well, why has he deleted mine? And I've posted it up again, even though I have answered it. Also, can we keep them a bit shorter so it's not like reading an essay? Because reading isn't our best quality.
Not really.
We're more listeners than readers,
definitely,
if we're honest. So can we keep them a bit more concise? And
we blag it well.
Like one-liners would be handy. Like 3 words would be even better, and nothing more than 5 letters in it and a vowel. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, no big words.
No big words, yeah. Or funny names. Okay, Ian Fox says, "Hi Phil, please help. I'm returning," this is another essay, "I'm returning to model building after years away from the hobby, but thanks to Flory models, I'm getting back on track. Getting back on track has been a joy. Construction of my first build has gone to plan with ease. I thought nothing could stop me." Oh yeah, that old chestnut. That was, here we go, until it came to the gloss clear coat stage with my intention next to apply the decals. I use Valero polyurethane gloss. I'm just thinking if I've got polyurethane gloss. I have got polyurethane gloss, but it's under you because I don't use it. And there's a reason for that. No, it's not. I used polyurethane gloss and the outcome was a disaster. I didn't pre-thin it as the instructions on the bottles said to spray neat. But the problem was soon immediate as there was no sign of a gloss finish, just heavy frosting and a dull matte look. In the panic, I tried to correct this by thinning 50-50. The result was better and it did look more glossy. I flooded the surface all over and it looked wet. I believe that was correcting things to do. But in the end result was so thick I had lost all of the fine detail. Furthermore, when it dried, there were spills of gloss plus a crackled glazed appearance in parts. I've been left with no choice but strip the model back to the start. What could have I done so wrong? Is polyurethane varnish the wrong product to use? My confidence has taken quite a hit. I'm now looking forward to working hard on the paint work just to be back in the same predicament as the first stage again. Thanks for any help you can offer. Now, I haven't used this stuff in a great deal of time. I can't remember why I stopped using it, but I didn't have a problem, but I didn't use it as a gloss, if I'm honest. My point is, and I think Sid's got some under him, is there is one in there. They look like the thingy bottles. They're about that big, 50ml bottle. They're white around somewhere. The thing is with them, when you look at them, that'll be the one. They look quite thick. And I'm guessing that obviously spraying it neat, probably from a distance, it's done the old thing if it's dried en route. So when you come to your model, you've been about here, okay, and you're spraying it, but this distance is too much. So what's happening is, as it's making its way, it's basically drying. So there's not enough of the medium to keep it wet. So it's literally just drying and hitting and going matte. Now, something I did a long time ago, and if you look back through the tutorial videos about glossing, I explain in one of them how I can make a gloss go from being a matte finish to a gloss finish just by air pressure. I just did it with you as well, didn't I?
You did.
Just by distance, because obviously if you're in close, it's going to be wet, it goes down, everything's nice and wet, it takes time to dry, self-level gives you a glossy finish. As soon as you come away from it, that distance and the time and the amount of air that's in amongst it as well just dries it out, it hits the surface, it dries and goes to matte. And that's what I used to teach as well, and I'm sure it's on one of the videos somewhere, is that literally start close, and as you make your way along and you go from gloss to dead flat using a gloss, it doesn't matter what it is. And in theory you can work it somewhat the other way with a matte. You can make it look like a satin if you put it down wet. It's all to do with air pressure and distance. High air pressure, long distance, all these particles are dry before they hit the surface, gives you that crusty flat look. Crackling is something usually to do with temperature, because sometimes what can happen is the outer part dries, the inner inside it, because it's quite thick, is still wet, and as it dries it sort of shrinks and cracks and everything else like that. Normally that happens if you're in a warm condition. If it's a hot room, you know, things like doing it in the summer, or you've got the sort of central heating or things like that, it can dry extremely quick on the top, but inside it's still wet, and then gets obviously all horrible and things like that. So that really is your problem. I don't think this is necessarily the best product for glossing. If I'm honest, I prefer their acrylic version. Which have I got a gloss down here? Yes, we do. They do it in sort of two flavours. You can have an acrylic or the polyurethane. The polyurethane does do a good job, and I used to use it a lot for doing satin and flat. Didn't really use it for gloss because, you know, I tend to use clear and stuff like that, and most of my stuff is armour. The one that I do like, funny, it's gone quite yellow there in the bottle there, is their acrylic resin. That one I find to be a lot better. if you're using it, although that has gone extremely yellow in there to the point where I wouldn't even use it, I don't think now. So that's your problem with that, and that's not even in sunlight, so I don't know why it's done that. The polyurethane stuff, they're supposed to be these ones have a anti-yellowing process, like that one I thought had as well, clearly not, that stops them going yellow over time and all things like that. Technically it is a good product, it does do what it says on the tin, but I think it's to do with your air pressure and distance. So slightly less air pressure, thin it a little bit because it won't hurt it, and get closer in when you're putting it down. That would be my advice for that one. Okay, so Robert asks, hi Phil, hope all is well. Very quick question. I know you mentioned at some point, but do you mind repeating what process when it comes to adding the hex nuts, stainless steel marine grade M5 to your bottles of Model Air or Steinel Res, etc.? Do you mean clean them up first before you put them in? If so, in what? I've purchased some nuts in the coming days, so I'd like to have a rundown of how to do it. To be honest, I'm a bit bad. When mine turned up, I just had a little bag of them, I think it was 50 or something in there. They were really clean, they had no residue, but I know other people have done it and they've had, you know, oils and stuff. What you want to do, bung them in the sink, bit of washing up liquid, you know, dishwater soap, put that in, give them a swill around, get it all off, run them under clean water, and then give them a rub under a towel, let them completely air dry. Don't put them into your bottle wet, because if there is some algae and things in your water supply, it's going to grow inside your bottle, and then do it. But to be honest, mine were bone dry. I've still got some left over, I put them in here, so I've got some different size ones, and these were all nice and clean and dry. They're not oily at all or anything else like that, so I did just chuck them straight in. But if you do find they are a little bit gooey or metally, if you get metal shards come off them as well, don't use them, wash them out first and everything else, and you should be good to go. Just make sure they are marine grade and stainless steel, otherwise you end up like somebody put up on the forum the other day with a big brown rusty lump in the bottom of your paint, which is never a good look.
Unless you're looking for that colour.
Well, yeah, unless you're doing rust, of course, and that way you've got living rust. This guy, right, is brilliant, because you know what his name is? Peter Flory. Now, I only know 7 Florys in the UK, and I'm related to all of them. So that's not bad going. Okay, so anyway, Phil, really enjoying your videos, the site and the videos, especially enjoy the civilian builds, not much into military, etc. That said, I find all the tips and tricks transfer. My question, wondering if you can share some pearls of wisdom regarding painting. Airbrushing, I want to avoid brushing. Multicoloured areas with fine detail, i.e. the recessed and fine details. Oh God, hold on, don't do that. Sorry, I touched the photo and it suddenly went off to that. Where were we? Examples of my motorbike brake hydraulics. Call-outs suggest for a black background for the hydraulics and master cylinder, parts are gold colour. Based on the scale, which used for masking off is difficult. I have played with liquid masks, however, but it can be difficult to apply the maintain straight lines. I have also found that it also can peel when removed. This could be my technique. Please see the right foot peg area shown on my Honda NR on this photo. Please consider below and just an example, so we can zoom in on this. Example, yeah, that's it. No reflection or comment on Robert Sinkham's outstanding quality of work. Okay, kind regards. Right, so we'll look at the front fork area, yeah? Is that what you've done in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're doing recessed details, the way I do it is obviously start with the lowest point first.
Oh, so the right foot peg area.
Foot peg area.
So that's like the kick.
Yeah,
kick
okay,
thing
got you. Just down there. Yeah, it just depends on... obviously, when you're doing details and you've got obviously slightly lower than raised and everything else like that, you've got 2 options, okay? You either start the lowest first, so paint that colour in there, and then you almost dry brush higher. So when you're rubbing it, it sort of does not in the recess, and you can come up like it. And I've worked through multiple layers doing it that way, so you're working your way up. The other way is to thin the paint, and you literally let the capillary action do all the work and drop it in to the lower point and let it run around all the outside, and then you build it up slowly. So just put in a tiny amount so it goes round, and it'll be like pretty, metally if you're doing it on the metal in the middle. Then come in and put another drop on and build it up until that lower area is solid and bring them up. It's one of those slow, laborious jobs because you need it to dry between coats rather than just going straight in there and try and do it in one hit with a thicker paint. So if you use a thick paint, it won't flow nicely and follow all the areas where you want it to be. So that's really how I would go about it and work your way through. And to be honest, I did a couple of bits like that on the bike, on mine as well. I had a decal that went into the actual on the front forks. It had like the manufacturer's name. Originally I did it with paint because I didn't realise it came with a decal. So I put the paint in there first and did it, and then I got to decaling. It's got freaking decal in it, so then I put the decal on top and did it all that way anyway. But that was just one of those sort of scenarios with it. But yes, that's the thing. And like obviously on the peg, because you've got it down on the inside with black on the outside, again you could then obviously very thin amount drop it on the inside or paint your way out, whichever way you want to do it. But as I said, it's one of those things that's a steady hand, and we were saying about a brush. Good quality brush as well.
Nice point to it.
Nice point to it, and you can be very precise about where you're putting it in. If you've got brushes like mine, it really won't work, and you can do it that way. So yes. Okay, Ian. Okay, this was a while ago actually because we haven't got to these. 27th, we did this on the 13th. I'm building a Hasegawa A6. I think it's probably finished by now. A6. To my surprise, one of the older kits with raised panel lines. Will the wash work as well with raised panel lines as it does with the on engraved panel lines? No. But what you can do is what I call cross.
No, don't help him. He told me to shoot you. You told him to shoot me.
Well, that's a good point actually. Last time, and I did shoot you, and you did shoot me, and I had a cracking bruise on my leg. Thank you. However, we won't go into that one. Show us your bruise. The thing is, what you want to do is, if you're taking off the wash, put your wash as you would normally on your model. But what you need to do is go 90 degrees to the panel line. So when you wipe away, you're scraping it against the panel line. Because if you go with it, you're just going to take it clean off. That is the trouble. You can do it raised. We did it raised years ago and things like that, and everything else. You can thin the wash as well with a normal bit of water, tap water, boil the kettle, we were saying earlier, let it cool down, use that water, works even better, and let the capillary action go off to all those areas, and then you can clean out the middles of them all, and you can do it actually that way as well. That works quite well. But technically it's not going to work as well because the whole point of the clay wash is it gets down into the recesses, so when you wipe, you can't get it. It's dried and it's in the grooves, so when you wipe across, you're just taking off the top layers like it's on this one and things like that. So yeah, it does, but not as well. Okay, Paul Morgan. Hi Phil, I've been trying to work out the best way of riveting. I've used the trumpeter wheel, and you've done loads of scribing tutorials, but no riveting to any extent. What is the best way to follow the skin or panel lines? I have done bits of it. If I remember rightly, my B24 had quite a lot back in the day when the riveter first came out, and I used to rivet everything.
I remember you doing some of it.
So we have done some. Have a look around some of the videos. When I get going with it, I tend to have a go. As I say, I use, in my newly cleaned out, so cleaned out I can't find it. Hey, look at this one now. Look, I have a drawer, look for that. I'll show them all this next time. Look, we have drawers for this. It's slowly going up. Obviously, I haven't got a flash riveting wheel. There is some real nice ones out there that are a lot more professional than this.
I got one of them.
You got one of these. This is one of those cheap £7, I think, £5-7 ones from Trumpeter. You get different size wheels on it, which give you different scales. I don't think I've ever changed it. I've just got the medium one in there, and I've always gone with that. Technically, just treat it as you would normal rescribing. You can use this stuff with Dymo tape and with your tool as well. So if you are using a guide like these, so obviously you've got your normal templates, you can just lay that down and run your riveting wheel against it. So you will do it exactly the same way. If not, you've got your Dymo tape or you've got your Tamiya carving tape, whatever they call it, as well. Although this isn't Tamiya carving tape, this is somebody else's carving tape. You can do it the same way. You put this down and then use your riveting wheel and you go round with it. I found the best way with this one is to do little areas, so you sort of just jig it, because one pass isn't enough, and if you get out of line you end up with just like hundreds of perforations. So you literally just want to do a little bit back and forth and work your way along. That way the wheels just keep going in the same holes and you can do it. So literally just little movements as you work your way across, rather than doing big ones and back and forth, because I find if it gets out of step it just looks a mess. And all the rest of it, and do it like that. So yes.
Another way is I've seen you do it with a pin vise, with a pin.
Yes.
For small detailed areas.
Yeah.
That's not got loads of riveting.
That's right. The other way, of course, and we use this set. This is the what's the thing called? The flat ones. Please tell me the flat ones. Here it is. Looks like a jigsaw blade. The other way is these guys. Now these have got serrated teeth. It looks like a saw blade. Then the idea is you can use this, which is a riveting tool. This gives you the ball head on it. This is the 48th. I've got a 32nd one in there as well, different scales for it. And because it's got teeth on it, you can actually go along, you hear it, and you can place it in between the grooves. Now this one's got bigger teeth. Groovy. Okay, this one's got bigger teeth. And then you literally just put it, every time there's a step, you place it in. What I tend to do, because these are alright, it's just they're very long-winded way of doing it, I will just use my needle, which is here. So all I've got is literally a sewing needle in a vise thing, and I would just follow it and go exactly in the grooves, or every second groove depending on the scale. So I will literally put this onto the model and I would just go along. And in fact I think I did that to the A6 when we rescribed and re-riveted that one, just to go along to give us a perfectly straight line of rivets. And I think I went every second one or every third one on that, right the way down, and did it. And then when you're thinking about different curves and shapes, it also comes with this one, which has got them. And again, it's like a saw blade in these, so you can actually put them at locations. Now you don't have to do it every single one, but you, like I do, is like do it every quarter, whatever you want to do, just so they all line up, and it gives you perfect rivets and all the rest of it. It's a slow, laborious job, and it's one of those things where when you start it, you're committed because you've got to finish, because you've done a bit of it. So, you know, the other one is those little riveting wheels have got tiny little, my one's got a big wheel, but some of the ones I've seen now are smaller, they're like this type of tool, and it's got it on it, and the wheel is literally a tiny little thing, you know, it's the size of a pea. And it's only got like 6 or 7 pins on it, and they do it like that. I think that's probably better than the big ones. So I don't think you'll get out of step with the big ones, and all things like that. So yes, that's that one. You ever do much re-riveting? Or did you just avoid it?
No, I did try it once, just purely to say that I tried it. That was on an Apache helicopter.
Yes.
All around the engines on the top part. Obviously, I stuck them together, I sanded it.
Yeah, I know, they all do that too hard and you lose that,
and I tried it. Yeah, it was all right. I'm not going to show it, but for the experience of doing it, I'm glad I did. Yeah. Because at least then I can now learn from it. At the moment, it's in me drawer, sort of. Yeah, I'll finish it if I want to, but yeah. But yeah, no, it was okay. The only thing I did find is that although you don't want to make them too deep, you have to make them reasonably deep, because then you've got to sand over the top, because obviously when you're punching it, obviously it splays out a bit. So you do have to make sure that they're reasonably deep, and then obviously sand over the top just to give it that nicer finish.
Funny you say that. The trouble with the trumpeter one is it doesn't give a big enough hole. It doesn't push in enough, because it's like a blade, it's more like an impression. So what I tend to do is, and I think we did it with the A6, is that when I did the actual riveting on it, I used the wheel as a bit of a guide, and then I came in afterwards with the needle and pressed them in, because you can't get enough oomph, but at least you've got even spacing all the way over. And to be honest, it's a bit like this guy under here.
Just noticed the way he was going to pick it up.
I'll wear through it again. But you might notice all under here, it's all had to be redone.
Okay.
So literally it was a case of working out the distances and putting them in and everything else like that. So it's all equal spaces, because when I sanded it, obviously I lost a lot. Yeah. So it's just a case of going around. And to be honest, the ones on the side here, they weren't brilliant. So I went round just with the pin and just went in them all again, just to open them up and make them a little bit bigger, because the ones down here on the back end of the exhaust, they weren't all perfect. They sort of faded out a bit and they come back. Normally they always fade out on the top edges, because it's obviously not a positive mould. It's coming in from the sides, and did them like that. So yes, things like that. Okay, right, so next up we've got Lawrence. says, "Hi Phil," or "Hello Phil. Nice work on the RB6. Please could you tell me a bit more about the photo setup when you take your pictures for the final reveal? To be honest, it is as simple as a sheet of black card, which is stood up behind our big telly over there.
It is.
Which I take it down. I then bring it over here and using my big clamps, that sounds, when you say it like this, it spoils the myth. You'll think I've got some photographic studio and all the rest of it. I'll tell you what, I'll show you because it's that quick. It's literally a case of...
You mean to say I went out and pulled that blue roller blind for no reason?
Well, do you know what? I don't use the blue roller blind because it's got a bit dusty. And it technically needs a damn good clean now. Right, so all I do, this, if I was doing this, you can see this here, I would get, you just do it that way. I know it's blue at the bottom, don't take any notice of that. And then here comes my chair, and then I clamp this to here. Then you take your said model and you put it there, and that's it. I literally, hopefully you guys can see that. Let me just check, make sure you can see. And that is it, yeah. Then I sit here and I'll click, click, and then job done. To be honest, it is that simple. I know it makes sounds like I go off and I do this and that, but honestly...
I suppose the only advantage that you've got is obviously the studio lights.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing.
So that's a bit of an advantage. But I must admit, that's basically all I've got is the blue backing for like a roller blind.
Yeah.
And a fluorescent tube light above it.
Yeah.
And then when I need to, I roller it down and cover it over my worktop. Mm-hmm. Take the picture and then roll it back up again.
Yeah, I must admit, there's another reason. If you look behind me, the plastic fittings on my roller blind all broke up. I think just because the sun was on it and stuff like that, the ultraviolet got to it. And unfortunately, they all sheared off, hence why it's not up there. In fact, I don't even know where it is. Oh, there it is, behind me, the chair over there.
Oh, yeah.
So occasionally I will get that one out as well. But with me, I go through fads. So if you notice, if you look at my backgrounds, like, oh, white, that's really nice. And I'll do it with white for a bit. And then I get bored and it's like, I'll go with black, because black was always the company colours. So yeah, and it is.
So it's just red soon then?
Yeah, go with red background. And it is literally as simple as that. I would love to say it's more artistic. And to be honest, you know what? I've used my iPhone for the last couple of photos. RB6 was off my iPhone. Used that. You know what? I took probably 60 photos using my big camera.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't happy with any of them. And I came down and I used the iPhone and I cropped and edited it all on my iPhone, uploaded them to the server, and they thought they're great, that'll do, use that. And to be honest, this is the trouble I've got with this one. Today I came down here, this morning I finished doing the final bit, saying right, here we go, we're all finished. Then I thought, right, we'll photograph it. And I did exactly what you've just seen. And I was taking photos, and all you get is reflection.
Yeah.
Because the camera just cannot handle shooting metallics because it just reflects everything. Your eye, for some reason, works fantastically, but you put a camera near it, it's just white. So what I ended up doing was using the camera that I'm recording this on now, because it's got a decent sensor set in there, and it doesn't take, it's more like your human eye. It gets rid of all reflections. So I've actually done a bit of a panning around it like this and did it different things, and we've done flyby, and all this with that bloody great camera. I was waiting to drop it on it, you know.
You're supposed to size up.
Yeah, that's it. Onto it, because it works really well. I tried it with one of the smaller camcorders and it couldn't cope with it, but the big one has no problem. So I did it with that. Then I've taken a couple of stills again with my iPhone, just for, obviously just for the site and various bits, but most of it, because of its metallic, I remember trying to do the Mustang, it hated it with a vengeance, just couldn't get it to work. What works better if you can get these shot in the daylight, but if you, like us, we had a bit of rain this morning, so
we did have rain this morning, yes.
So I couldn't do that, but technically if you're going to do metallic finishes or anything shiny, if you do it in daylight, it's not as bad, because studio lights or any type of lighting on these just reflects. It's horrible. So yes, that's that one. As simple as that. See, spoiling the thing. I'd love to say, well, come over to our studio, and in there's big lights and everything. Because I see some guys and they have these big lights and they have a light box and the plane goes in and it's diffusers, and I'm like, God, I haven't got anything like that. I don't do it. Mine would look so much better if I had that. I'm Photoshop.
And then Photoshop.
Because my idea of Photoshop is crop, save image as, and give it a size, because otherwise they're just massive on the site. I just bring them, resize them. So yes, I'm a bit bad like that. Okay, so Gareth says, hi Phil, 3 questions if I may. I bought a second-hand kit. how do you know if the decals are still okay? These have a slight yellowing around the letters and the logo, etc. Some decals made like this, or they of old age. Chances are it's gone yellow, it's old age.
Yeah.
One thing I would highly recommend is, you know the bit on most decal sheets where it's got the manufacturers and a copyright? Cut that off and see if that works.
Mm-hmm.
Put it onto white, something white as well. So lay it onto a piece of plastic card or something else like that, and just see what it looks like. You know, if it's got a yellow hint to it, then obviously I wouldn't use it.
I must admit, I never touch any decal that's got yellow tint to it.
No, that's it. Because the trouble is, I'm not being funny, I think we discussed this on one of the other shows, didn't we? When you've spent, 30, 40 quid, 50 quid on your model, and then you've spent 2 months building it, to wreck it with the sake of a 5 quid decal set.
Yeah.
And as somebody, we were speaking about this, about having the decal bank on the site. I think that's a real, it's a good idea, but managing it would be just a logistical nightmare. But I think if you have got that situation and you are after decals, then, stick a shout out. I sent some decals only yesterday to one of our members from one of my sets that I haven't used. If you put on there,
you've got the buy and sell part anyway, so that we could use that. You could easily use that for the decals as well.
So if you are after something, you've got a kit and you haven't got the decals for it or whatever, just post that, because you might find somebody's got half a sheet left over somewhere and all the rest of it.
Well, I did that at Telford last year for me Stallion, didn't I?
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
And I believe actually it was one of the gentlemen from our site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Didn't realise at the time.
No.
And kind enough sent me the decal. I mean, obviously, that sounds really bad because I've not got around to doing anything yet.
No, but it's there.
But at least I've got them.
That's it.
Because obviously, I mucked up putting the decals on, didn't gloss it enough, and they turned out really nasty.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have to trying to find extra decals for it. You just couldn't do it.
No.
You can only get the decals that come with the kit, which I was quite shocked about.
Yeah.
Say again, I might have mentioned it on the live chats that we did, and somebody accosted me at Telford. I spoke to him about his build, and he just said, "Yeah, leave me your details, and I'll get back to you." Lost the details, unfortunately. Next thing I knew, it came through on the forum.
Yeah.
So bless him. Thank you very much. Still got to say I have got them. I just haven't had the time to get around to sorting them.
He's waiting to see that at Telford this
Probably.
year.
It's a shame actually, because it was quite a nice build. I was quite impressed with that.
Yeah. Oh well. Right. Okay. Question 2. I know this has been raised before. I would have pre-read these questions sometimes after last week. But is it possible to know earlier what the next group build would be? And hold on, how old was this one? This was up on the 13th.
The 13th.
Right. Okay. They are all up for next year now. The team all sat down round a virtual pub table and we thrashed it out a couple of weeks ago. And I have to say, I'm not taking any credibility for it, because I had nothing to do with it.
I saw your comment about the Star Wars.
I said something, don't forget me. That's what I actually said. When they said, right, this is the final listing, I was like, hold on, you forgot me Star Wars film. So that's about as far as involved I got with it. So I must admit, there's some real good ones for next year. And as was mentioned to me by a member the other day, who actually said that there's something literally for everything in there. He can find something to put in all of those ones. And because we've brought them back, because at some point we had something like 10 a year, it was ridiculous. Now we've brought them back, that we've actually got 2 SIGs for armour guys, 2 SIGs for air, flying type things, and then we got 2 group builds running throughout the year, and then it sort of, it all, slightly crosses over. So you can always find something to do something in, as we make our way through. So I think we've covered that one now. Okay, 3. Is there a section on the site that has some background info on the guru Phil? Who is Phil? How did he get started? What does Phil enjoy doing outside models? And how does his wife, partner, boss, bully, nagging one, it's lucky she doesn't watch this, kids, TV, work and general life? No, there isn't actually. We used to have a team area, what we did in that, but it was from 2008. I think it was out of date, so I deleted it. Well, I didn't delete it, I just hid it, because obviously we all look like a lot younger. So we need to sort that out again. Perhaps we'll do a video profile. I'll video you one day. I'll sit there and go to yours, and you can sit in your den.
So I'm going to be the
I'll
guinea
quiz
pig.
you. Yeah, I'll quiz you. Then I'll go round to the rest of the team. That will involve me flying out to see Hans, obviously.
Oh, shame.
Stefan, Jonas, and all the rest of it. Well, I don't want to go yet. It's not finished.
Almost. He's got tiles.
Yeah, but he hasn't got a kitchen. Oh yeah, his black units went in yesterday. I did see that.
He's got his tiles.
Yes, and then we'll go round. We'll just turn up like a film crew.
Yeah, gate crash.
As he opens the door, in his robe. Hello, welcome to Flory Model. Jesus Christ, get that camera out of your face.
Yeah, if you're Hans, you're watching, I hope you got your laptop sorted.
Yes, how is Windows 10? I like it. It works well on mine.
I've had no problems.
But my system upstairs for editing, I don't know, every now and again, it doesn't like Windows 10, and then my Google locks up. My Google Chrome just locks up.
Oh, I see.
So every now and again, it has
like Hans.
Yeah, that's it. It just doesn't like it. But apart from that, the rest is all okay. Right. Yes, love the Q&A, but missed the live version. I know. One day we'll get back to it. It's in South Africa, Things. Yes, we will sort out a thing about all of us and what we do. I think probably most of you know what I did and got started and all the rest of it by now. But obviously the rest of the gang.
Definitely. I think it'd be quite interesting.
Be a bit of a thing. We can sort all that out. We will do one. No problem. Okay. Jason asked, hi Phil, 2 questions for this Tuesday. When I get towards the bottom of my airbrush colour cup, my paint tends to thin out until it's nearly all thinners. Is this the case of too much thinner and the paint and thinner not thoroughly mixed, or standing too long in the colour cup? If it makes a difference, I usually paint with Tamiya, Vallejo Air and Testors acrylic, thinned with their respective thinners. You have trouble with that?
Only if I don't mix it properly.
Yeah. So you could answer. You are learning. It amazes me you picked some of this up. See, Sid hasn't been doing this very long either. We have to say, he only started last week. But in the great scheme of things you did, you talk about a late comer to the party.
Oh, very late.
Decide I'm going to take up scale modelling. At least some of us gave it a whirl years ago and came back to it.
I didn't even do that.
No, it's it. So, oh God, battery.
Oh no.
Oh God. Right, okay.
You can use mine if need be.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm only following you.
Oh, right. Right, okay. Probably your thing is it isn't thoroughly mixed. Normally, if you've mixed the paint, as Sid quite correctly picked up, it will hold its own. Time, obviously, they will separate. It doesn't matter what it is. Over time, they will separate. If you mix them to an inch of their life, you should be absolutely fine. But we always get that thing. I get it as well, and they do separate. To be honest, the AK Extreme Metals, when I was doing the goldy-ish colour, the burnt tint around the back end, that separates to the point where on the top, it's like gold. It's like a gold fleck in your colour cup. And I do talk about it when we get to this part, because I stand it down here and I talk to you on camera without any edits or cuts, and then turn it over and it's just solid gold at the bottom where it's separated. It separates that quick. It's not so much a problem because you just have to keep mixing it in your colour cup. Or just don't talk to the camera like I do.
Yeah.
If you just got on with it, you wouldn't have a problem. But when I'm yapping on the camera and I come to spray it and it's just like all water coming out, it's a little bit of a problem. But yeah, it shouldn't... If you give it a good mix, you should be okay. Sometimes though, if you are doing a job that's a little bit longer, the phone rings, life gets in the way, usual things, just in your colour cup, give it a mix up every now and again, just give it a good stir. It's good practice anyway, in theory. But obviously it depends on the size of your colour cup. You've got a big like 5mm or bigger colour cup in there, obviously you're going to get it. Smaller colour cups shouldn't get it as much because you'll be burning through the paint quite quickly. What are you missing?
I was looking for your pen earlier that I saw.
What? Which one?
Sorry, you keep going because I was just...
What, a normal pen?
Yeah, your bio that had your bits around. That's it.
That's my Evo knockoff pen.
It's good.
Yeah, do you like it? It's just like an airbrush now.
It is.
The 3 O-rings around
awesome.
it. It's awesome.
It's going to answer the next question.
Oh, right. Okay. How does one paint a straight line? Oh, very good. I like it. Around a cone. My next model is out of my stash calls for a single yellow line painted around the prop and spinner. So, what you can do, we spoke about this a lot, a load of O-rings. They are dirt cheap. I think it was something like £5 off of Fleabay. And they come in a set like this, free postage. And in here you have every single shape, size and jobby of O-ring. Literally down to nothing.
So I got a greeny colour.
You got a green colour?
Yeah.
Somebody else I know, they were saying mine's different because it was red.
Oh, okay.
Same case, same everything, but it's with red. So you can use that, and then what you do is you spray the yellow first, put down the band or over the cone area, and then remembering to come in square 90 degrees, you can then obviously paint in that section. If you don't want to do that, because obviously sometimes it can be a bit tricky and you're always going to get a slightly fuzzy line, then your other way is tape. So you can use very, very fine tape. This is 0.7 mil. I've got a 0.5 mil in here, I think, or something. But anyway, I've got very, very thin ones as well. The thinner the tape, the easier it is to conform on a curve. You know, and you can do it that way. Or the other way is, wherever it is, we've got this stuff, which you can cut down. As we know, this is basically a polyurethane pinstripe tape. Because it conforms, if you cut this again in half and stick this down, it will physically, you can sort of semi-stretch it so it really grips into the surface. Whereas the normal paper type tapes, they don't actually do that because they sort of wrinkle, usually on like the slack edge. Yeah. The thinner side, you'll get like a wrinkle, and if you press them down, it's like a tooth edge all the way around. But if you use the sort of the plasticky tapes, you know, like insulating tape type thing, cut that into a very thin strip, stretch it, put it down. You know, as long as you've got a square edge on one side now, do 2 strips and then take them around like that. And do it.
So the only problem I have that is getting them to line up when you've done a complete circle.
What, getting the ends to join?
Yeah.
Or you just overlap. That's how I do it.
That's the only problem I get sometimes.
But what you could do is
the rings.
Spray with the rings, with the O-rings, and that'll give you a guide. And then to sharpen it up, then you could go in with this one and then just overcoat it with the darker colour, so the black or the green, whatever you're doing the rest of the colour with, and that'll take care of that. That's how I would do it anyway. But I used to use insulating tape years ago to do things like spinner props.
Yep.
Because obviously you get like the swirly one around there. Could never get a decal to do it. So what I used to do is I used to actually get insulating tape, cut it into thin strips, put it on, spray it all white, and then I physically, and you stretch it as it goes round, and then when you get to the end, cut it. Spray it, the rest of it black if it's white, and then take it off and you're good to go. That's how I used to do it back in the day when I was on commissions. It's the quick little cheap way of doing it. Okay, what have we got? Neil says, "Hi Phil, any thoughts or suggestions around the use of priming the entire model in black and then using different shades of base colour to fill in the panels and panel lines? From the photos I've seen, it allows for layers of weathering to be built up at the same time as the base coat, rather than the base coat and the weathering. I've only ever seen a model pre-shaded with black along panel lines, almost working in the opposite way. To be honest, this is the old way of doing it. I don't know when it sort of changed, but back in the day, that's what people would do. I don't know if black primer was because of things like that, but you almost work it in reverse. So you start off with the black and then come back. The thing is, for doing that, if you're working with lighter colours like white and stuff like that, if you prime in black and then you work back, it gives you a better white look. Yeah. I know a lot of guys that are naval aircraft, US naval aircraft, they do always paint the undercarriage black, then they do it white. So the white has that real thick, heavy white look to it instead of it being greyish.
Yep.
And all the rest of it. So yeah, I have seen it. It used to be quite an old way of doing it back in the day, and everyone sort of just then goes in with grey and then pre-shades with black and put your top coat on it and do it that way. But yeah, all you're doing it is in reverse. So, you know, you're basically putting the colour on until you get the right shade you want in reverse and coming out backwards. But as I say, horses for courses in the way of doing it. I think the armour guys do more of that way than the aircraft guys, purely because you need a lot more paint. And from my point of view, pre-shading, you can then see exactly what you've got and you can stop at any point, you know. But yeah, it's just a slightly different way of doing it all. If you wanted to do it that way,
I'd find that quite difficult with me because of me problem with me colour blindness. Because it's finding the shades that I have the problem. As well, at least if it's like you say grey on with then the black panel line bits,
yeah,
I can see that clearly, more clearly than what I can the other way around.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's what suits the modeller.
Yeah, that's right. As I say, if it works for you, then fair play. It's just a different way of doing it. Same result really at the end. I don't think there's any right or wrong between both of them. You know, if you want to do it that way, yeah, if you're happy with the result, and perhaps some people might prefer that way. It's easier to work it that way than it would be the other way. So yeah, definitely one of those things. Okay, Bryn says, Bryn, Yeah, Bryn. Hi Phil, I'm doing a 1/72 Gannet, or sorry, Nat even, wrong plane, in silver after the first coat of Alclad. After priming, which I didn't notice, I have noticed some fine sanding abrasions and a couple of hairline joins that need filling. What filler medium would you recommend? It depends when you're saying fine sanding lines. Are we talking about the ones you get left over when you've used like a sanding stick and you haven't polished them out? Technically, I would just go straight back in and polish them out. So I would, from my point of view, I'd come in with a polisher and just go in and polish them out. As for the hairline cracks, obviously it depends on where they are and how much. You obviously don't want to destroy any detail. So you could go in there with something like a Mr. Surfacer. If it's just literally a very small hairline crack, which I've done with all of mine these days. Oh. So, something like a Mr. Surfacer 1200, I haven't used this for absolute ages.
Haven't used mine either.
No, but if you've got something where you just want to put in a little line, and also if it is literally very small cracks, just use like an acrylic paint, normally just pop that in there. That's got a great capability. It's probably not that much difference between 1200 and just using Tamiya neat. It will give you the same type of sort of effect in there, but it depends on where it is. If it's in somewhere quite tricky to get it out, like with a sanding stick or something else like that, then if you use like a Mr. Surfacer, pop that in, and you could use a little bit of thinners on a cotton bud just to wipe away the excess. That way it'll leave it in the cracks and it will fill those quite nicely. Then pop over it with a polisher, reprime and repaint. The trouble with Alclad, very much like this stuff, is that it's more like a plating system than a painting system. And I know I'm going to sound a bit of a hypocrite now, because when I did this one, I talked all the way through about you're not plating it like Alclad, you're painting it. That's because it's the way you actually use this stuff. You put it down like a proper paint, you just put down coat after coat and it will give you a great finish. With the Alclad, you tend to mist down very light coats, bring them up gently until you get the finish you want. With the extreme metal paint, I tend to chuck it down. It was no real, problem with it. It works, as simple as that. But the thing is, if you've got any imperfections in there, it's going to show it up. Like that will as well, because it's not like chucking down a flat acrylic paint which hides scratches and fine cracks and stuff like that. You can literally we'll put another couple of coats in there and just a bit heavier there and get rid of them. With this stuff, it literally shows every imperfection, any cock up you've made, it's going to shout at you big time. So that's why it has to be good. So that's the whole point. When you do the primer, making sure, have a good look at it. Once this one, obviously it had Stynylrez first, then it had the black coat on top, the black base, but looking at it to see if there was, and if I remember rightly, I did have a couple of sanding stick marks on the underside, and I went back in and buffed them out, then re-black base over the top, and it was fine before you get in. Because I do talk about it a lot. The whole point of priming isn't to prep for your paintwork, it's to look for imperfections as well. So if it looks good in primer and you're looking round, so you're looking at things like your cockpit gaps, making sure they're good, and on your planes, obviously your centerline seams, stuff like that. Looking at it to make sure, if you're doing your armour, just look for your glue marks, various bits and pieces that are going to show through your next layers of paint. And then by having a good look at it, you're thinking, yeah, and then move on. So you don't really want to come out your priming stage onto your paint stage until you're totally happy.
Yeah.
And everything else. Okay, so Peter says, hi Phil, I'm always amazed at the sheer number of models you do. My question is actually, what did we say earlier? What have we done? 14 this year?
16 I think it was.
16 I've done this year, so it's my new record.
Yeah.
I've done 16 models in a year, I've got 2 more to do, and then all the Star Wars stuff, so I reckon I might be able to hit 20 this year.
I reckon you might.
So I've done a few.
you built some that's not even on there, so...
Yeah, true.
So I reckon you will easily get 20.
Yes, I'll probably get them done. Okay, so hi Phil, I'm always amazed by the sheer number of models you do. My question is, what do you do with them once built? Surely at some point you're going to run out of space. Love the forum, love the work, all the best, Peter. True. To be honest, for years they were always commissions. Everything I built went. And for years people have come around here and they say, what are you working on? Show me some of your work. I haven't got any of it. It's like I never worked. People come, so you've got nothing to show? No. So you build models and you've got nothing to show? No, because I didn't have a single model completed in my home, and it was as simple as that. It was always really weird. But now I don't do commission work. Well, I do a little bit, but not as much as I used to. So consequently, everything I have you guys see, and then what I tend to do is all of them all go to charity. So that's my little bit. So, for instance, the HE111, Bob's picking that up. So It's upstairs at the moment, flying around the office. Literally, give it a dust before it goes.
He's got it on the fan light.
Yeah, that's it. Put it on the ceiling fan. Looks great. I've got 2 Spitfires on other planes following it round. Yeah, don't put it on number 3. It'll fly off. So yeah, no. The thing is that every now and again I do have a bit of a charity bash, and to be honest, I might have one in the new year as well, where we'll get rid of some of my models that, quite frankly, are taking up space now. As you can probably see now, because obviously behind Sid, we've now got a row of them there. I've got my cabinet. This is everything I've got. Everything else we've built has gone. It's gone on commissions and various charity things and things like that. So hopefully, I'm going to keep some of my key favourites, because I must admit, I do like my Jag, I like my Harrier, I like my Lightning.
Star Destroyer can go?
No, Star is not going. That's definitely not going. It's my pride and joy. But some of the others will be going. So if anybody would like to make a donation, obviously to Snap, then when those come up, you can all bid for them, and we'll have a bit of an online bidding war and see if we can raise some more great money for Snap, which is something I'm going to be talking about next week, because Flo starts his round the world trip.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yes, I've been working out the kinks and details for that, so I'm hoping to start Telford, because I'm going to take him to Telford.
That's a good point.
And then I'm hoping
from there.
Somebody's going to take him. Well, somebody is taking him from there.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know it yet.
Fair enough.
And then he's going to start his round the world trip.
Awesome.
So yes, that's the thing with that one.
Little passport book.
Yeah, he's going to have a little passport book, and I want you guys to fill him out as he goes. And if you take some photos on your bench or at popular landmarks, if you live somewhere with a good landmark as well, sit him up there and take a photo, and that'd be great.
Yeah, you want to come to Cornwall then?
Yeah, that's it. Somerset,
Pasty.
the Willow Man. That's it. Okay, one more question I think we can get in, and then we'll have to call it quits for today.
Okay.
But Stephen asks, "Hi Phil, have you heard about the filler? Sorry, haven't heard about the filler you made. Sorry,
filter.
Yeah, haven't heard a lot about the filter you made." For your extractor, just wondering if you notice any difference from the proper one. Keep up the good work. See you at Telford. We will. To be honest, that is still the one, and I've used the hell out of it. It's probably due for a change now, and I've noticed no difference whatsoever.
Good.
I've noticed no smell, and if I'm honest, because this is an extractor, it's drawing it out and shoves it out the building. I think it works better.
Good.
Because the other one had like a paper backing to it as well, like a mesh.
Yeah.
Well, that obviously slows down some of the draw. This doesn't, because now I've got it on the wire side. Yeah. It literally hoofs it out. But when I've been spraying, especially doing things like that and all the rest of it, when I put things here and talking on camera, when we did the one, at one point, I must admit, it came off camera, and I was like, I couldn't even see the door. And I hit that one, and immediately you could see it in the lights going that way. So I got out of here and left it to it. But you could see it physically pulling everything out of the room. It does work extremely well. And as I say, for the price, I've probably got enough there to last me years and years.
You came back and you found your model stuck to the fence.
Yeah, everything there. Chairs, desks, cutting mats, everything stuck to the vent, yeah. Down you switch. Desk, carpet, and the entire room peeled off.
The gremlins came in and upped your power.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody just turned out a 10,000 volt. That's a jet engine sat there. So yes, that was that one. But no, definitely, I think, obviously, I don't think it works out cheaper if you're just one guy spraying as you might do, a couple of times a week, something else like that, because a normal filter is going to last you, and obviously to get the deal like I did, it was like 50 metres. So I've got enough to last me a lifetime. But what I'm thinking is, if you've got your local club or a group of friends and you're all modelled together, then you can all chip in, buy a roll, cut it all up one afternoon and go away with it. And away you go. But it's not died any quicker. If anything, I'm sure it's lasted longer. I would have been up for a change on my other ones by now, because as soon as I can't see any more colour on there, I tend to change it. But also you can tell, because when you turn it on, the old one you would see physically pull in. This one, still everything's just going through, and it works really, really well. The only thing I can't do now is I used to, because it had the mesh on the front, I used to put a cocktail stick, pierce it, and hang it on the mesh, and that's how I used to do it. Can't do it with that one, so I have to stick them now like these, are stuck on the end side things. So I built these because I wasn't sure if I was going to use them or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overcoat them with clear lacquer, just see if they can be overcoated.
Fair enough.
Just to play.
Good way of testing it.
Yeah, I thought we'd try them, because they just push on the wings if you want to put them on afterwards.
Right.
So I thought, well, we'll give them a whirl, see what happens.
Indeed. Splendid.
there we go. Look, that gets us up to date to last week's show.
It does.
So now everyone's questions from last week are after this week. And everything else. I will try and get through a few more questions throughout the week, hopefully, if I can get through there, and everything else. But at least we caught up with what we had and all the bits and pieces.
Indeed.
So, your plans? Bearing in mind, we've only got just over a week to Telford.
I know. Yeah, no, I'm just going to pot one painting me figures. Trying to get at least 5 of them finished.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And what are you taking up to Telford so everyone can see your work?
As I said earlier, probably me ship.
You can take your ship.
Because that's the only one that's really finished. Because last year I took me D-Day.
You did? Yeah. Your diorama.
Yeah. Was it finished? I don't think it was finished completely.
No, you had a few bits to do, but it was almost there.
Yeah. So I'll probably take my ship up with me.
I must admit, I don't know yet. As I say, I'm going to take the big Typhoon and obviously the airborne Typhoon.
Yeah.
I might take the Bradley.
Yeah.
And I might take the Sherman. And I think that'll be it. What we're going to do, obviously, on the site, guys, in the forum, we'll put up the thread. I don't know if Steve's done it yet. Or if not, I'll put it up. Is about obviously what models you're going to take for our display on the table.
Yeah.
Because obviously, don't forget, as ever, Flory models will have our big stand. Half of it will be the sales team, and then we'll have the other half to display all of your great work. So if you're going to bring something though, let us know, and then we can work out where things are going to go and everything else like that. And if we do get too many, then obviously we'll rotate as we normally do.
And then group photos as well.
Group photos, yeah. It'll probably be the usual 2 o'clock job. 2 o'clock Flory model stand Saturday and Sunday, and we'll get the group photos all in. We're going up on Friday.
We are indeed.
I'm planning to leave here quite early. We'll be up there mid-afternoon, set up, and then in the pub by at least 7.
Why not?
So we'll be there, definitely. And then we'll be found there on Saturday as well, holding it up to the wee hours like we normally do as well. So,
I don't know, last time we didn't know because we were too tired.
I must admit, I was
but it's going to be different this year.
Pretty knackered,
Hopefully.
yes. No, we'll be right this year. We'll put in more of a determined stint. Don't have to drive home on Sunday, so
this is
right.
true.
Give a bit more there. Right, that's it for us. Thank you very much for coming down, mate.
That's right, thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Thank you very much for destroying my model Halloween special.
Something different?
Well, it was, definitely.
It was different.
Well, it was similar with a twist.
Yeah.
And it worked very well.
Yeah, I think
the
so.
level of destruction was probably, I think, better than the others, actually. I don't know putting that particular way it was done, but it's definitely things did go a lot quicker.
Definitely.
Yes. So yes, never mind. So all we got to do now is sort out somewhere to blow that thing up, and then we've got somewhere to go. But we can't do that in your back garden.
No.
I think the neighbours might complain.
No, but I think that's a weekend job when we're away playing.
I think we have to take that down the quarry.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yes,
indeed.
look forward to that one. Can't beat high explosives and plastic.
Indeed, I think it'd be good for that.
Right, that's it from us. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll catch you all tomorrow.
Take care. Bye.